will make it work, whatever it takes. That life happens. Life is always going to happen, whether your kid's in public school, private school, homeschool. Life is going to happen. There's going to be ups and downs in life. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today I decided that I wanted to sit down and chat with you guys about why I homeschool, the journey that I went on to homeschooling, because it's kind of an interesting and crazy journey, I feel like, at least. And I just thought maybe it would encourage other moms if you are struggling, like if you're currently homeschooling but you're doubting yourself, you're doubting homeschooling, or maybe you're considering homeschooling but you're like on the fence because you have certain doubts or worries about it. I feel like my story could hopefully, possibly encourage you about homeschooling. Maybe kind of help you if you are new to it or just having doubts, kind of understand homeschooling on a deeper level than people who don't homeschool. You know, those people that are outside of the homeschool circle who are like, what about socialization or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, I think that homeschooling is very misunderstood, and there can be a lot of judgment surrounding it. So whether that's from friends, family members, yourself, whatever it is, maybe you're totally against homeschooling, but you just stumbled upon this video somehow and thought it would be interesting to watch. I don't know, but I would love to encourage other homeschool moms out there, or hopefully future homeschool moms. So, first of all, hello, my name is Madison. I have 4 kids, ages 14, 6, 3, and 1. We currently homeschool, but we have gone back and forth with my oldest, so I'm going to share that a little bit about that story and why that is, and honestly, some of my mistakes or regrets that I have, I will share a little bit in this video. I feel like I want to do a whole separate video about like homeschool regrets, but that's a part of our story. And then, of course, I'm going to share why I have chosen to homeschool all of these kids, because it is a very different thing than most people do. You know, I feel like, especially during 2020, people are like, I'm not meant to homeschool my kids. I can't do this. And honestly, during that time period, I felt that way too. I think it was just a very difficult time in the world. But yes, so I have 4 kids. My 3 oldest are boys and my youngest is a girl. I am married, and I do have a cleaning channel that's kind of like my part-time job. So yeah, but this channel is just I kind of want to make it kind of like a podcast, although I am thinking that I will do some day in the life videos here and there. I did one recently over Easter weekend. So that video is up if you want to check that out. But I want to just encourage other homeschool moms. I love watching homeschool moms. Like, that is some of the #1 videos that I watch are homeschooling videos from homeschool moms. So I just thought, you know, why not share about my homeschooling journey as well? So here I am. So, why do I homeschool, and how did we get here? How did we come to this where now I am like set in stone that I am homeschooling every single one of my children all the way to graduation from high school? That is my goal. Now, of course, things can happen that are outside of your control, but I will do everything in my power to make that happen for my children. That is where I have gotten to. But I was not always so set in stone, unfortunately, and you will learn that through this video. But I would say there are so many reasons that I homeschool. But I would say the #1 for me personally is time. I have a 14-year-old, so I know how quickly it all goes. I know that it feels like a lot when they're little and it's exhausting, and you kind of wish it away, sadly, a little bit. Although I loved my oldest, I loved spending time with him and being with him when he was little, and I wished I was a single mom. I wished I could be like a stay-at-home mom at least with him for many years. But it is very tiring. And so if you have young children, it's normal to feel like exhausted and like, this is never going to end, but it does. It does end. And one day they're a teenager, and then one day you wake up and 4 years from now they're going to be graduating from high school. One day they do graduate from high school and they go to college and they move out or they get a job or whatever. You know, it just goes by extremely fast. And sorry, that was my 6-year-old. It goes by extremely fast, and I want to cherish every moment with my kids. And I would say the number 2 that kind of goes along with that is I want them to have time not just with me, but also with their siblings. If they were all separated into their own schools, like my 14-year-old would be going into high school next year, my kindergartner would be in elementary school, my 3-year-old would be in preschool, and my 1-year-old would be home with me or in a daycare. You know, they would be all separated, basically. And the beautiful thing about homeschooling is that you can bring a 14-year-old and a 6-year-old, an 8th grader, and a kindergartner together. We actually do chess club once a week for an hour and a half, so it's a decent amount of time. And it's for kindergarten through high school, through 12th grade. And so both of my kids can go. And then my little ones, there's like a little play area for the babies. So they go to that. So all of my children go to this. And my oldest and my 6-year-old have become super close through playing chess together. My oldest is teaching him. He's way more advanced because he has the advantage of having an older brother who is not only does he know how to play chess, but he's like passionate about it, interested in it, watches YouTube videos about it, plays chess online. He's actually going to do his first tournament this weekend, which I'm so nervous for him / excited. But they just wouldn't have that bond together if they weren't homeschooling. This is a homeschool chess club. If Carter was in chess club, he would be in it in his middle school or his high school, and Henry would not be able to attend that. So, and then, you know, on days that we have chess club, they'll be like, oh, we need to practice, or on other days. And so once they get done with their schoolwork or in between our morning time, their schoolwork, they'll practice chess together. And then the same thing with my 6-year-old, my 3-year-old, they play all day long together. Now they fight, and that's a difficult part of homeschooling, is they do fight. But I think that's a normal, natural part of life and can be beneficial for them as well. But they're learning together, playing together, they're, you know, with each other so much. And I think it's just such like a special thing to see for me and so special for them. So I would say the togetherness, the time that you get, and what else? Teaching them about God and about having good moral character. Now, I don't think that always has to go hand in hand. That's a whole other thing. But I don't think either of those things are taught most of the time. Now, you can send your kids to private school, and that would be very costly, especially if you have 4 children like me. But you could possibly do it. We couldn't afford it, but it can be done. I actually went to private school up until 8th grade. Until high school, I guess. I went from kindergarten to 8th grade, private school. Actually, Catholic school from 5th to 8th grade. That's a whole other story. But as someone who even went to a private school, I feel that learning about the Bible and about God from your parent is so much more beneficial, and you take it so much more seriously, and your parent takes it so much more seriously than you do even in a private school. But of course, in a public school, you're not going to get that at all. And then they really don't teach about having good character. Maybe occasionally here and there, but it's not like an everyday thing. There's no like teaching of good habits. So another reason why I homeschool is that my kids learn to cook and clean right beside me. They see me edit my videos. They see me working hard. Like my son Henry, he has never been to school. They do an enrichment school. We call it, it's not really school. I don't like to say the name of it, but they do an enrichment school once a week. And that's a lot of fun. So Henry's done that for many years. And, but that's just, you know, basically elective type classes, things like that. But besides that, Henry has never been to school. And he has been with me cooking and cleaning his whole life. And if you watch my cleaning channel, which those of you who are watching this might watch my cleaning channel, you see what a hard worker he is. He is amazingly hardworking, and he's 6 years old and he's still doing it. It's not like, oh, he's a 3-year-old and they're kind of into that thing. No, he's 6 years old, still helping me any way he can. And I think that he has really learned about having good habits and taking care of your home and cooking, cleaning, and all that from being at home and not being just like put into a classroom for hours in a day. So that would be another reason for homeschooling. I would have to say also that my husband was homeschooled, so that was kind of how it got on my radar. Because when I was younger, I thought homeschoolers were weird. Like I genuinely did. I thought if you're homeschooled, you're weird. You know. Now this is before I met my husband. I met him in high school, but yeah, and at that time he was homeschooled up until high school. In high school, he went to school. So I don't even think I knew definitely not when I first met him, that he was homeschooled. At that point, I thought he just went to a private school. So, anyway, but, I really respect his parents and their way of living, and, my husband loved homeschooling. There's like a joke his mom has told me that he would say he wished he could homeschool college when he was younger. Now, he went to high school for different reasons, but, anyway. That kind of got it on my radar, and I could see the benefits of it from them. And I think it's a really cool, beautiful thing that it's kind of become this generational thing that his mom started with him, and then we are continuing with our children. And my husband is very into homeschooling. He is like fully on board with me. Which we didn't really talk about before we got married or anything. So it was kind of a surprise to me that he was so passionate about homeschooling our children. But I was pleasantly surprised because I feel the same way. So that's another reason. Let's see. I'm sure there are more. There are many, many more reasons. I'm trying to think of like a few more just off the top of my head. I'm trying to keep these videos just like casual and like we're chit-chatting and not like I'm reading off notes or something. But what other reasons do I homeschool? I mean, we have so much extra time too. So like we do chess club. My 6-year-old does piano lessons and he has plenty of time. Like it's not like he's been in school all day and then he's rushed off to piano lessons and then rushed to soccer. He also plays soccer, and then dinner and bed and boom, you know. That's a lot for a 6-year-old if you're in school all day. But because we're able to get our like schoolwork done in a very short period of time, he's much more rested and his mind is more open to those type of things. So I love that about homeschooling as well, is it really opens up. You know, I feel like a lot of people that are in regular school do extracurricular activities, but it's pretty exhausting for the kid and burns them out. So I feel like homeschooling can give you a really good balance in life and teaches your kids about that. Another reason that we homeschool is that you can tailor the education to the child. So instead of having like 20 to 30 kids in a classroom, maybe closer to 20 in a classroom, you know, you have to go at a certain pace. So you can't leave behind the kids. Like say your kid's really advanced in math. Well, you can't just like speed up way past all the other kids necessarily. Or say your kid's behind in math. You know, there's a certain point where they just have to keep going. They can't stop for your child. And I have seen too many kids get left behind, particularly in math. But when you are working one-on-one with your parent, they know you and they can tailor your education to you, and they can see, oh, you're not understanding this concept. Like, let's go over that a little bit more. Or, oh, this is something you totally understand. Let's move on. And I think that's a really big perk of homeschooling, is that you can just really tailor the education to the child. And we definitely have like a community in our homeschooling. Like we're not just homeschooling, staying home, never seeing people. Like we're a part of a homeschool group. We are a part of chess club. We do their enrichment classes on Fridays. What else do we do? We have like really good friends that we'll go to the library and stuff with. Like we have a community that we have built of like-minded people, which is really nice because when you meet people that also homeschool, they tend to have similar values to you, which can be really nice as well. So those are just some of the reasons that I homeschool. I'm sure there are many more that someday I can talk about, but I also wanted to share kind of my journey to homeschooling and maybe give you guys some encouragement if you're thinking about quitting or you feel like you can't do it. You just can't. Like there's just no way, because I felt like that at one point. So when I first started homeschooling, I had my oldest, I think he was like in third grade. Was he in third or fourth grade? He was either in third or fourth grade. Now I'm forgetting. And my second, he was a baby. He was like, well, I think he was like 2. So I feel like he was like 2. Yeah. And then my oldest was in like third or fourth grade. And I think I pulled him out of school. Yeah. So we had moved, and we had switched him from the elementary school that he had been at his entire elementary school career. We had switched him schools. It wasn't really going great. I wasn't really happy with it. He did not seem happy. He would actually cry every Sunday night before the school week started, not wanting to go to school, which I take what my kids say seriously. Now, of course, kids lie, people lie, kids aren't perfect and you need to be, a disciplinarian of your children, everything like that. But I do take what they say seriously. Like when something like that is going on, it concerns me. He had we found out during that time that he had benign Orlandic epilepsy, which means that he had silent seizures. And the only way we found that out is because I took him seriously of the things he was telling me. So anyway, that was really concerning to me that he was doing that. And so I wasn't really totally happy with the school. I was happier with the school he had been at before. But he still didn't love school even at the school he was before. He didn't love being there for hours on end. He will tell you that. He does not like that about regular school. Being there for 8 hours, Monday through Friday, is not something that he enjoys. So that was bothering me, and so I guess midway through the year, I kind of just decided to homeschool him. My husband had been homeschooled, and he was supportive of it, which was a blessing, and so we started homeschooling, and it started off really great. We were doing yoga together. We would do history actually with the baby. He was 2-ish, but he was very mature and advanced, and he was a very chill compared to my third child, chill kid. So somehow we did history together. I remember we would do little history projects together. We did the good and the beautiful history, and we really enjoyed it. But I think there were a couple things that it was my mindset that messed me up. One was when we would do math. I'm very big on math, and Carter is actually really good at math. So I took it really seriously, and I think I took it too seriously. I would make him do we would do Math UC, and I would have him doing, which is the math curriculum, just multiple worksheets in a day, and I think I was just taking it too far for him and me. I was burning myself out. And then I had this baby, which did make it difficult, and then I got pregnant. And when I get pregnant, I am super nauseous and sick, so I felt terrible. And then I had a newborn baby, and I was still homeschooling even after the newborn baby was there. But it just got to a point where it felt too much for me with the babies. And I was really concerned about my oldest's education, which you should take your child's education seriously. If you're choosing to homeschool, you're taking their education in your hands, and it should be taken seriously. But homeschooling can be tailored to your life, and I will explain how further down the road how true that is, because we went through something even more difficult than pregnancy, nausea, having a newborn baby, having toddlers. We went through something even more difficult than that and still homeschooled. So in the future. But unfortunately, I was letting all of that get to me, and I thought, I need to just put him in school. I thought I can't do all of these things with him, so I need to just put him in school. And I honestly regret that, because I think that we could have just taken a break and done some school like in the summertime, or we could have done school in the evenings when my husband got home and could help with the babies, or whatever. We definitely could have made it work, and I think my oldest would have been much happier, because he was not happy being put back into the public school, the school that he was not happy at before. So I did that, and I guess that was for his 5th grade year. So I must have pulled him out like midway through 3rd grade. And so then we homeschooled for like a year and a half, and then I put him back in school for 5th grade. And he wasn't happy there. I wasn't happy with it. And so I thought a good compromise, we have a great homeschool community, and so there was a homeschooler school, or there's a homeschooler school that you can do. And you can take up to 4 classes, and it's kind of like a college schedule. So you go Monday and Wednesday, and they're 90-minute classes, and then you just have like homeschool type work that you do on Tuesday, Thursday type of thing. So we enrolled him in that, and it went okay, but the problem with that school that I felt was it was not homeschooling. It was still more school, because we were doing the 4 classes, and it was a lot, and they had warned me that a 6th grader doing 4 classes in like difficult classes like algebra, or not algebra 1, but pre-algebra and like all these things, it was a lot. And there were just some butting heads between me and him about doing his work on the Tuesdays and Thursdays that he was home. And so then I had the babies, and then at this time, I think then I had our 4th child, so I was pregnant and had our 4th child. And so I once again thought, I can't do this. I can't even have him home on Tuesday, Thursdays doing school. Like, he needs to be in school 5 days a week. And then also at that point, I was working a lot more. I started to take on more of the financial responsibility in our home, and was working a ton. And so I felt like I can't homeschool. So was that 6th? Yeah. No. Was that 7th grade? Yeah, that was 7th grade. Sorry, I'm getting off, but you guys get the gist of this. So that was 7th grade for him, I think, that he did that type of school. Well, then 8th grade rolls around, and I decide I'm going to put him back in public school. And there was a really good middle school near where we moved, and there was a really good middle school near where we lived, so I felt better about that. And then I also decided I was going to put my son Henry, who was about to be in kindergarten, in school. And because I just thought, I can't do it. And I was even going to like enroll our 3rd child in preschool. Like, I was like, I have to work full time. It's not possible for me to homeschool. I cannot do it. That was my mindset. And so I did send Carter to school for 8th grade. You guys will find out what happened with that. You probably already know, but you might not. And with Henry, I enrolled him. Now my husband, he wanted to homeschool, so he was against it, sending them to school. He was against sending both of them to school. But I was like adamant, like, this has to happen because I have to work and yada yada. So I had enrolled Henry and everything, and then 2 weeks before he was supposed to start, I backed out. I was like, I can't do this. I just felt in me that it was wrong to send him to public school. I just knew that it was wrong. I could tell by how my husband was acting. That was one thing, that he was not happy about it. But then also within myself, I could tell something was telling me, don't send him to public school. So I didn't. I let the school know. I was like, actually, we're going to homeschool. And that's very easy to do in Texas. There's not like a bunch of laws around it or whatever, which is really nice. And that was the best decision ever. Like, that was 100% the right decision, and I'm so grateful that I did not send him. But unfortunately, I sent my oldest, my 8th grader, to public school. And he was not happy. Not only was my husband against it, which should have told me enough, but he was also like extremely upset and basically depressed about going. And I should have listened to that. I should have seen my husband and my child that I'm sending to public school, their reactions. But in my mind, I thought, I can't do it. I can't homeschool. It's not possible. His education is so important. I have to send him to school. So I did. And he went, and, it went fine, but I definitely, pretty soon after he was in it for a little while, I was thinking, this was probably the wrong decision, because I was loving homeschooling my kindergartner, and I was thinking, this is so unfair of me to be homeschooling one child and not homeschooling another, especially when that child wanted to be homeschooled. And I just felt like I started to feel so convicted on homeschooling and just really understanding my reason why. Well, then October 7th of 2022 hits, and this is going to make me cry, but I'll try to pull it together. So my son, my oldest, he had had a stomach bug for a week, which I won't go into the whole story because I do have a whole video about it, which I can link, but he had had a stomach bug for a week. He wakes up on October 7th at 4 a.m. in extreme, excruciating stomach pain. Well, long story short, he had a bowel obstruction. He ended up being in the hospital for 2 months. He had 4 surgeries. He was at the ICU. We had a failed surgery with our first surgery. It was traumatic. I was away. I left my kindergartner that I was homeschooling. Now, they were with my husband and his family, and everyone kind of my husband and his family band together and took care of the 3 little ones, and then my family took care of me and Carter while we were in the hospital. That's kind of like divide and conquer, because 3 young children and their mother leaving is a pretty big deal. So we were gone for 2 months and just going through the worst that any mother can go through with their child. Almost. I mean, I'm sure things can get worse, but it was really, really bad. But I am so grateful that I became so convicted about homeschooling before this, and told myself that we will make it work, whatever it takes, that life happens. Life is always going to happen, whether your kid's in public school, private school, homeschool. Life is going to happen. There's going to be ups and downs in life. And so, while my little ones were home, they were well cared for. Either my husband would stay home from work, or my mother-in-law would be with them, or my sister-in-law would be with them. So they were very well loved and cared for, and my kindergartner just didn't do school. And that was fine. And that was fine, because I knew we would get back to it. Well, when we got back from the hospital after being gone for 2 months, my oldest son, Carter, had an ostomy bag and a fistula. He was in extreme pain. His ostomy bag, his stoma was very flat. It would leak all the time. It would leak at 3 a.m. I would be changing his bag a lot. It was a very stressful, difficult thing. But we homeschooled. We homeschooled through that. I homeschooled him. He did just simple things, very minimal things. He did One of the Good and the Beautiful book studies, which was great because it's kind of like a standalone, shorter thing. So he did that. He did like a math thing online. Like, he did what he could while also being in extreme pain and dealing with the ostomy bag issues. So, but because we were homeschooling, he was able to do that. And the last thing he wanted to do after going through the worst possible thing he can go through was to come back and go back to school after a few weeks and have an ostomy bag and have all these things going on. It wouldn't have worked. His ostomy bag would have leaked most days. I would have to go pick him up. It wouldn't have worked. So it was such a blessing that we could homeschool. And not only that we could homeschool, but that I wanted to homeschool him. And I homeschool my kindergartner, and luckily, since he is so young and just in kindergarten, his lessons are shorter and it wasn't that difficult. We would just fit it in when we could during the day. Well, then we had to go back to the hospital to do the ostomy reversal, and we were there for 2.5 weeks. He ended up having 2 surgeries because the first one he was having some leaking, and it was very traumatic. Not as bad as the first visit, but still very hard. So once again, I left, and my kindergartner just didn't do school during that time. Well, during all of this, though, all of this kindergarten year with this horrible thing happening in our family, which no matter if he was in public school or homeschool would affect him, having his mom gone and everything, we made, I think it was the summer before, but we had made some amazing homeschool friends that we're still friends with. We had their enrichment school that they go to still, so they were still doing that. I ended up figuring out about chess club, that both my oldest and my 6-year-old could do that, and the babies can play and the moms talk, and it's great for everybody. And so despite all of that, we have made it work. And now that my oldest is home, and he no longer has the ostomy bag and the fistula, so he's not on all these medications and having the leaking and the pain, and he had pain from surgery that he's had to recover from, but it's not the same as constant pain from a tube sticking out of your stomach, and an ostomy bag. But anyway, so he has been able to slowly start doing more schoolwork, which I'm going to share about in other videos, what he's been doing. But then we have like morning time together where we all sit around the breakfast table, and the little ones are trapped in their high chair or their table, eating their breakfast, and the big kids, listen, well, we all listen to Bible stories, and we'll sing ABCs with the little ones, which the big kids find funny, and we'll watch news, and we just do all these things together as a family, and we just make it work, and it's beautiful, and it's wonderful, and it's exactly where my oldest wants to be after going through all those horrible things. He wants to be with his family. We got a dog. My oldest is able to be with the dog, and then I do have plans for my oldest with that, well, I'll talk about that in another video, but I do have plans for my oldest for different things that he can branch out with, but we are sticking with homeschooling, and I am so grateful. And actually, even the surgeon, when she came out after his last surgery, she said, I said something about school, and I said, oh, we're going to homeschool, and she said, oh, good. I wasn't sure if that was going to be an option, but that's what would be best. And it's just crazy to me to think that all of this back and forth with me, thinking that homeschooling, I can't do this or I can't do that, realizing that God has brought me right back to where I should have always been, where I wanted to be, homeschooling my children. It's the exact right thing for all of them for so many reasons. For my oldest, my reason for homeschooling is, pretty big deal, a pretty unique experience. And that's not even my core reason for homeschooling, but it's, something that he needed this year. He needed that. And so it's an interesting journey, but I have never felt so solidified in my belief in homeschooling for my family and for others. I truly believe that it is a wonderful thing for most people, and I wish more people would do it. But especially for my family, I feel so passionate about it, and I feel so grateful for that piece, because I was obviously very conflicted with my oldest for many years, and almost with my 6-year-old, and I would have regretted that so much with him, and I have a lot of regret with my oldest, but I also know that I was just kind of on a journey, and we were having lots of babies, and that's a hard time, especially for me. Pregnancy is tough on me, but we've come full circle, and I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful for God's mercies on me and the mistakes that I have made, and just our family, His mercies on our family and everything. So anyway, our homeschooling journey and our reasons for homeschooling are very emotional to me, but I am just so grateful to be able to do it. Henry? So now there's a little guy that would like to be in the video, that has been wanting to be in the video this whole time. So he's going to say hi real quick. This is Henry. He is the 6-year-old. Tell them what happened this Easter. What did you get? You got what? Tell them.
I got a necklace. It's a cross necklace.
Because why?
Because I got baptized.
That's right. And he's been telling everybody that he got baptized, and it's just so awesome. Okay, don't stand too close. Don't stand too close. Yeah, so his grandfather gave him that necklace, And Carter actually got baptized a few years ago, and his grandfather gave him a necklace as well. So
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
10.
Yeah, I think so. 4 years ago. So it was a very special Easter for us because this guy got baptized. So Henry, what do you think of being homeschooled? Do you like it?
Decent.
Henry, no, seriously. Be serious. How do you really feel about homeschooling?
Really decent.
What do you mean decent? Do you know what decent means?
Yes.
It's just like, okay, it's not that great. What do you feel about homeschooling? Would you rather be in public school and like some of your friends in the street and be there for like 8 hours a day?
No. That would be terrible.
That would be terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if I was Nick, that would be terrible.
So anyway, all right, Henry, what do you want to say to end this video? Can you end the video for me?
Subscribe, and if you don't hit the subscribe button, I will delete this video.
So you better hit this
The channel,
button.
the whole channel.
The whole channel. Okay.
So if you dislike, unsubscribe, and do not post the notification bell.
Yeah. So basically, subscribe, like this video, and click the notification bell to be notified when I post new videos. Right?
And if you don't remember, delete on the channel.
All right. Thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye.